What's up, everyone? So it's a lazy Saturday here in California, and I was supposed to be watching the US F1 Grand Prix qualifying, but for whatever reason it's on ESPN News and I can't watch it. So I decided to make a quick video about Nike sneaker quality control instead, because I've got 3 pairs of Electro Orange Jordan 1s here, and I think they illustrate some of the issues that I've seen about online and read about in forums with respect to Nike quality control really being all over the place these days. Now, I will say I believe it to be sneaker centric. As an example, I have a pair of Pollen Jordan 1s that are absolutely impeccable quality, but the Electro Orange leave much to be desired across the board, from basically awful to tolerable but still not great. So I bought, as usual, 1 pair to wear, 1 pair to stare, and I ended up hitting on Nike sneakers, so now I've got 3 pairs. You would think in general, just pick one, wear it, but when I actually look at all of them, this is kind of a cross between the sneakers and the OCD videos that I make. There were just issues, and it was really, really difficult for me to pick a single pair as being the pair I want to break out and wear and keep. I think the others I'm going to honestly resell because I'm just not a fan of what I'm seeing here. So let me give you an example of what awful looks like. This pair is the worst, and for very good reason. Look at that. Look at the leather that they included on this shoe up here. Right there. It looks awful. It feels awful. Luckily, it's on the inside, so it's not visible from this side, but I mean, I don't even know how this passed quality control as a shoe that was sellable. I don't know why they decided to use this panel. I think maybe they struggled sourcing the white leather material and they just had to use what they had, otherwise they wouldn't be able to make enough pairs out of the raw materials that they started with. But that's terrible. And the other side of this shoe looks very different, but it's not that great either. So that's pair 1, just no good. Pair 2, actually on initial analysis probably looked the best out of all of them if you just analyze each piece on its own. But this particular pair had a very specific issue that would have just driven me nuts if I would have broken this one out to wear, and that's that the shape of it is totally wrong. So if you look at this, if you're not familiar with the Jordan 1 shape, it's supposed to be like an hourglass. This looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Here's what it's supposed to look like. You see how that's very much up and down? Now take a look at this one. It's leaning off this direction very badly. So, yet again, another pair that, in my opinion, I understand why they sold it, but I wouldn't select it. That's no good. So, the pair that I decided to break out, and I did break it out, you can see I've worn these. I think this was the best of the bunch, but it wasn't without issues itself. The cuff here wasn't the greatest, but it's passable. This one has a very OCD annoying issue though as well, and that's that if you look at the toe box, the leather on the toe box between these two might be a little hard to tell, but it's actually very different looking and feeling material. This one has a much more crinkled leather look to it, and this one, even though it's got some creasing in it now, was actually very smooth. So if I pull one of these other shoes, I can give you an example of closer to what I'm talking about. It looked like that. Compare that leather to this leather. These shoes shouldn't even be in the same pair. This particular crinkled leather doesn't match the toe box on any of the other Electro Orange shoes, and it doesn't match the toe box on the other shoe. It's just odd, it's just bad. Beyond that, in terms of the feel of the shoe all around, the one that I went with, this is not something you can get across on video, but this leather is smooth and it feels like it will not get dirty all that easy, whereas the leather on some of these other pairs is actually very textury and sticky and feels like it's gonna pick up dirt and stains and just stick to it. It's not the same feeling material from shoe to shoe. It's not something you can see in a video, but these shoes are all over the place. It's really pretty bad, and it gets me thinking about whether or not, for some shoes at least that Nike makes, if there's going to end up being a market for the quality of the shoe that you're buying. I'd hate to see it come to that. I think that would be silly. I don't think that's the point of the sneaker game, but it's an idea that I've seen floating around on the internet before, and it's something that I've thought about because when I'm buying a shoe, I would like to know if it's a shoe that generally has quality control issues, if I'm getting a good example or not. So I don't know how many people can relate to this, if it's just me and my own personal OCD-ness, but it's something that I found very interesting that was very easy to illustrate across the pairs that I've got here. So I'm throwing this out there. You guys let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you at the next one.